Hey, how we doing, bud?
We're doing okay, brother. How you been?
Though, busy.
Hey, I know.
Busy, but excited.
Well, hell yeah,
Getting
man.
down getting down to the last week before the you know what.
Oh
And
yeah, most definitely. Yeah,
we're
and we'll
just getting things buttoned up and last minute stuff taken care of, and we're good.
hell yeah, man. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I mean, because obviously I know who you are, and we go way back quite a few years. But for all the people that's going to listen and going to tune in, that doesn't know who you are, you want to go ahead and kind of give us a little introduction of kind of like who you are, like what got you into the paranormal. Do you got a paranormal team? And kind of all that.
Ooh, okay. Um, well, first of all, my name's Jason Snyder, and as of right now, I would call myself a paranormal investigator, event promoter, um, speaker. Uh, you know, it started off with a very young. My interest in the paranormal started off at a very young age. Um, growing up in a family where we talked about hauntings and we talked about spirits and things like that around the dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
My mother believed in it and had claimed to have lived in a haunted house when she was younger, and several of my family members, did as well, and had plenty of stories to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't any bigger than like 5 years old when all this stuff started being talked about,
Really?
and the reason why it was being talked about so much was because my grandmother, my father's mom, had passed away from brain cancer,
Oh, sorry
and
to hear that.
she passed away. So this is in 1982. I was 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She passed away at the hospital, but she had literally spent her last half a year or whatever alive at our house under our care.
Oh, right.
And so every single day I spent all day every day in her room and just kept her company and everything else. And so she passed away, and immediately after she passed away, things started happening in the house that can't be explained. And it was mom first noticing, and then mom and dad both noticing. Of course, my father was the ultimate skeptic.
Right.
There was nothing that you could do to get him to admit anything, even though he's seen plenty of it and
Right.
reacted to it. You
Right.
know, um, but it went on for a couple years. I had seen her myself. um there was a lot of unexplained things that I would hear my parents openly talk about and stuff like that. So the paranormal has always been a huge fascination with me. And my very first paranormal experience as an investigator, I think I was 16. And my old podcast partner TJ, he lived next to me. He was like 14 years old at the time, and him and I went out to. We used to have a book called the Haunted Heartland series, and it was just a series of books that just talked about hauntings and things like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Um, all great stories. A lot of people have heard of them or have even owned certain books.
Right.
But in that book was there was, and here's the thing, it was mostly folklore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um so in there was a story about a headless motorcyclist on a bridge in Elmore, Ohio, and
Oh,
you had to be
wow.
there on the first night of spring at midnight. And so that's what the very, very first time I was able to travel to a haunted location. And of course, back then it said, be there the first night of spring. So on the first night of spring, after I got my license,
Mm-hmm.
which was the following year after,
Right.
TJ and I took off over to Elmore and went and tried this thing with, blinking your lights three times and honking your horn three times. And you know,
Right. Right.
nothing happens. I mean, it's just, and it's just one of those things where we both had stayed involved and interested in the paranormal for many, many years. We partied at a place called Gore Orphanage in Vermillion because I'm an Ohio boy.
Right.
And we partied over there in Vermillion, Ohio, and it was said to have been a haunted location back then.
Okay.
Us running around abandoned houses and things of that nature, I mean,
Right.
so it just followed me.
Yeah.
And given the early 2000s when MySpace came out and YouTube started kind of making its run,
Hmm.
um, I started to become more and more involved into the research aspect of the paranormal. And
Right.
I got with a group of people, and we formed a team. And we did a lot of great things together. We investigated a lot of stuff. We had so many great group experiences. In 2010, I moved on from them, and then I started the Indiana team for anomalous research.
Okay.
And we did the damn thing, with
Hmm.
that group, and we went everywhere and did all kinds of things, from hosting investigations to being part of them and speaking and doing, all the conferences actually as vendors rather than promoters. So it's been quite a journey. And now me and the Indiana team for anomalous research, it's been kind of disbanded, and I'm more of a solo researcher per se. Um, and I mean, I still tend to research with the people that I've been researching with over the
Okay.
last 10 years, though. It just opens everybody up to researching with other people
Right.
they they want to, myself as well. um, there are private cases that I like to get into that it doesn't necessarily need to be an entire team all the time, or it allows you to bring in different resources without
Right.
overcrowding and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So there's lots of benefits to it. And I think more than anything, when you have a team, you almost feel like you have a need to always stay busy.
Hmm.
And for me, I mean, I've got a case that's been going on for about 2 years now.
Oh
It's a
wow.
personal case,
Okay.
and it's not really so much going on. There was no conclusions, but I'm still in touch with the client. She's a high profile client, and she stays in touch with things. I mean, so things kind of go a little quiet for her for a couple
Right.
months, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, things start going haywire. And she's in a secluded cabin at the top of this mountain or this hill. She's like
Hmm.
11 miles from the nearest paved road. I
Oh
mean, so
wow.
she's that's in a place that's not even incorporated. And all
Right.
these all these homes and all these places and these people who live on the side of this hill, just she just drive you through from top to bottom and tell you terrible things that have occurred on some of these properties, and things about the families as she was growing up. And it's no wonder why she's dealing with, entities where she is.
Right.
I mean, there's so much around her. And,
Hmm.
so I say it's an open case because it's not satisfied. She's not satisfied. I'm not satisfied. And we're completely open with keeping it open. So I go down there when I can, do some more investigating, do as much research as I can in between.
Right.
But, I mean, I'm not really busy as like I used to. We used to
Yeah.
investigate 3 weekends out of a month,
Right.
and
I remember them
we were
days.
collecting data faster than, yeah, right. And we were collecting data faster than we can review it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, that's all we did. We lived, eat, breathe, shit, and sleep the paranormal. It's all we did for so long.
Right. Yeah.
You get burned out after a while,
That's not,
and
that is
of
no
course,
lie. That is no lie
yeah.
whatsoever. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember that
And
from
things change in everybody's personal life too. So I mean,
correct.
if you don't have a personal life that's conducive for things like that or that kind of activity or schedule, then you just don't. And,
Right.
anymore for me, I own two companies, so I
Hmm.
stay very, very busy all the
Right.
time. I'm a full-time single dad, and so the whole
Hmm.
thing about it is just that it's a lot of work, man. it's
It
it's a
is.
lot of work, and at the end of the day, yeah, and at the end of the day, if you have any time left, you don't want to be on the road,
No.
and sleeping on hotel floors or on the floors of these haunted locations. And
Oh yeah.
you want to catch up on sleep.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember back in the day where, we'd like, I mean, just kind of at the time, like do it for fun, go to different, what I don't know what you call it, but back in our day, we called it pay to play, where, where you go to
Yeah.
locations, pay your money, and Man, I can remember when driving to Ohio, Illinois, and and you're just like 4 in the morning, and you're like, you're on a highway, like nobody's talking, nobody, and you're just like, man, this is exhausting. And it's like,
Yeah, because I mean that's when highway hypnosis sets in because you're like 16 hours in, you've already driven, and then you spend a lifetime there, and now it's time to drive back, and you're half dead, and you're
uh-huh.
like, why do I do this?
Oh yeah, I
I
remember.
spent many nights on autopilot, man.
And a lot of people
It's
go,
just like, God
like,
damn it.
yeah, a lot of people even ask me, it's like, do you miss him? Like, no. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved it, I enjoyed it. It was a because I'm a history nerd. I mean, so
Right,
kind of if you take the
right.
paranormal part of it out of the equation and you're going to a historic location, and to me, that was just all, you know, that was like gold to me, so but I mean, yeah, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, some of it was a bitch, but at the end of the day, man, I mean, like when people has a paranormal team, and to me, it's almost like you got a great group of friends that treat each other almost like family, and it's like you just to me, it's like you get away from the 9 to 5er, you get away from the kids, you get away from all the other bullshit in life, and you just go and have a good time. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoyed it. I really did. But I mean, then when I got into the whole residentials, that got insane. That just
Yeah, those
I don't
private cases, the residential cases are
yeah,
far better than any of these commercial places because
right.
I tell people all the time, I said, man, everybody looks at the old school days as the good old days.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they hid so much shit behind closed doors. You don't know what happened in these homes and these families in the past.
Right.
You really don't.
Yeah,
It's crazy stuff you uncover.
right. And I mean I had a great time doing it, and I don't regret it, whatsoever. But I mean, like you said, like you just said a little bit ago, oh, excuse me, it takes a lot of your time away. And even though sometimes it's a hobby at times, but in another sense to it, it's almost like a business, and it's a business you're not getting paid
Yeah,
for.
it is.
And yeah, it's a business you're
No,
not getting
but you're
paid.
dumping a ton of money into it, though.
Yeah, you're dumping, it's
All the
your own
equipment
gas,
that you're buying, the
it's your
gas,
own
hotel
gas
food.
money. I
Yeah.
mean, even with me, like at the time, like Saturdays, that was like overtime. And you're like thinking, man, I'm turning down time and a half to do
Big
this for
money.
nothing.
Right.
And you're driving, you're spending your own gas money, you're stopping for food, and you're like thinking to
I'd rather be
yourself,
making it than spending it, man.
and
Seriously.
you're sitting there going, man, I just totaled up on how much money I turned down this weekend. And it's like at the end of the day, I mean, it's like me and you both just said a minute ago. It's like kind of, and I mean, it's a lot of fun, and I didn't regret it. I mean, we had some crazy times. I mean, and I like most of the paranormal teams I was a part of, and I still have one. We just don't really do anything right now. And but it's just, I mean, we've had a blast. We've had just
Right.
great times. And and at the end of the day, all of us, I mean, we made good memories. I mean, it's just I don't regret it
Yeah,
whatsoever.
so in life, and that's what I have to keep telling myself, bud, because I'm a workaholic.
Mm-hmm.
And in life, I get to the mindset where I honestly feel like if I'm doing anything and it's not constructive or moving forward, then it drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I had to really took me a lot of time to realize that part of enjoying life is also just you don't have to be productive. You can
Correct.
literally shut the phone off and shut the world out and stare at
Mm-hmm.
a wall, but as long as you enjoy it and it's therapeutic,
Very true.
whatever it is,
Oh
you
yeah.
know there has to be a part of your life that goes into your mental and your physical well-being. That involves things like hobbies. If
Mhm.
hobbies makes you happy, you have to do
Correct.
that. You have to allow for that in your life.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I justify it. I really, really do. It's how I justify it. I can't work every single day as much as I'd like to.
Right.
It's okay to take a couple of days off and go enjoy
I
some
used
time
to. I
doing
mean,
what
I
you
used
love
to
to
be
do,
that.
even though it's not
Yeah.
productive.
I mean, my dad. I mean, my old man. I mean, I'll tell you what. He just retired. Oh man, he's he just retired probably just 3 years ago, and
And how old is he?
just turned 70. And I'm not joking. He worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week until he retired. I mean,
I believe it.
and it's almost like when he retired, it's now he's got a lawn care business because he then he does woodworking. I mean, he's that type of person that has to,
Yeah.
and he's got to keep
Here's
doing
the
it.
thing though, bud. That's good. That's good
Yeah,
though,
it's
because
not a
here's the
bad.
thing. Guys like that, once you stop them from working, they deteriorate fast.
Correct. And I mean, he kind of
I've
like put,
seen
yeah,
it. I've seen it.
I mean, he put that in me. It's almost like with me right now, it's like, I got the job, got a 9 to 5er. I do the podcast. I do, which I haven't done photography that much in the past year. But I do photography. I built a website. I always got to be doing something. It's almost like I don't do.
Let's not
Whoa,
forget about Bud's backyard barbecue.
hey, hey, whoa! Damn right. Hey, yeah, we can't forget about the barbecue, man. Yeah, we can't. No, 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 no.
No, that's a lot. That's a lot of work too, man.
It
Right? That's a
is
lot of work. If you're gonna smoke a brisket, bro, how many hours is that?
almost 12.
12-hour shift right
Yeah,
there,
but
man.
yeah, and that's usually me and my
You
that's
gotta
like me
prep
and
it
my
and watch it and make sure
that's me and my dad's thing though. I mean, that's me and my dad kind of father and son bonding barbecue and
yeah.
so but yeah, man, I mean I don't do everything all at once, but it's almost like, when the photography kind of veers off a little bit. And I love doing the podcast, because it was something that everybody kept saying, man, start a podcast. I'm like, I don't like, oh, then all of a sudden I was like, everybody's kind of like, yeah, dude, I'll come on. And everybody's like, yeah, shit, why not? you know?
Right.
And then,
Yeah.
like doing tours at Hannah House, and doing all that stuff. It's almost like, I had no regrets. I don't mind doing so many things
Yeah, hell,
whatsoever.
dude. The Sunday volunteer cleanups that would happen once a month there, that's a whole ass day of work. That's busting ass work too. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't bullshitting.
It carries, we're splitting, chainsawing trees, logs, moving
Oh man.
branches,
Yeah.
restacking thousands of pounds of wood. I mean, good God, and sweating our asses off while we're doing it.
Hey,
But it's a great time and it's always well worth the effort though, you
it
know what I'm
is.
saying? Because
At
the
the end of the
outcome is
day,
just
man. I
amazing.
mean, it
People have no
isn't,
idea how much work it is to keep that place up.
like
How
I've been
long have how long have you been affiliated with the Hannah House, bud?
about 9 years, roughly.
No, you've been affiliated longer than that.
Yeah. I want to say probably, well, I want to say I've been a part of the
It
staff.
seems like you've been around ever since I started attending the paranormal meet and greet.
Uh, well, I've been around the place
That
quite a
started
bit.
in 2006.
I've been there off and on, but like say a part of the staff and doing tours. I want to say
Mm-hmm.
nine-ish, maybe 9, 10 years,
Okay.
maybe.
Mm,
I lost
all right.
count after a while, dude. I mean, yeah,
Guys, so when you came in, I was already kind of helping Danielle out with the event before that, right?
yes,
Okay.
right.
Wow. It's so weird to think about back that far.
I know,
It
right?
really is. Because it's the 14th annual of that event, right?
Yes. The thing
The
about it is,
14th year. Now, there's been two
right.
years that it didn't happen. It started in 2006, but there's been 2 years that it didn't happen.
because of
So, but it is the
COVID.
14th time that this event's been hosted. Yeah. There was one other time back in 2018, I believe, as well. 2017 was supposed to be the final year. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
We didn't, and then we didn't have it 2018, but we had it 2019.
Right.
And that was
Correct.
when that was like what 1,250 some people. And then 2020, we didn't. 2021, we did. And
Yeah, because I never
obviously
got out
this
of the
year's
house that
happening
day.
next Saturday.
Yeah, I never
Oh,
got
I
out
know.
because it was
None of you
like,
guys did, I don't think.
oh, I'm telling you,
Scott said
man,
you guys have been in there doing tours without a break. I couldn't believe that you guys,
it was
man.
like it was me, his friend, I forgot his name. Uh, I forgot his name, but he helped, and it was Kira. And I don't know how we did it. There was only three of us. I don't know how we did it,
Mm-hmm.
but we were like on just on sync all day in the line, and just you know what I mean. I couldn't complain about it because it was almost like how many people really wanted to come in and do the tour. That's the thing.
Right.
I can't complain about it. I really can't. Because it's one of the things I've
Well,
been
here's the thing. I mean, I knew that a lot of people was going to want to do that tour, but when I walked over in the side yard and that line was all the way out to the fence out front.
oh, yeah, we were looking out the door.
Oh God. I
We
think
were
we had
like,
6 volunteers working that event that day. There was so many people.
yeah. No, I mean, it was just one of them things like everybody at the end of the day, it was like, wow. I mean, it was just overwhelming. And
Right.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was just one, but I mean, the thing about it, like I said, I can't complain about stuff like that because, yeah, it was exhausting. Yeah, it was nonstop. Yeah, but you know what? But it's like when you got a lot of people wanting wanting to come by and and how many people we drew for the event. And I mean, it's almost even every year gets better and better. And that's the cool part
Yeah.
about it. Every year
Yeah.
just gets better and
Hmm.
better, bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
More vendors, more
Mm.
people coming in. Okay, so for
Yeah.
the people that,
I don't know if you've seen that or not, but I actually officially closed off vendors.
yeah, I saw that.
We've, I've always told people, I said, we will never reach the maximum amount of people needed that will fill the space. Never. And
Proved us wrong.
we've had to turn down another five or seven different vendors in the last 24 hours. And it's like, I can't allow anybody else in. This place is going to be packed.
This never, and it's like I've never seen it that packed. I've never really
Yeah.
like when we were talking like last week, and we were talking about how many vendors and food vendors and like tables, how many tables are getting set up. Okay, for all the people that don't know what we're talking about, and I apologize, but we're talking about Paranormal Day Celebration. And it's an event that we hold every year. I do tours. Um, I'm going to let Jason explain what he does, his role in for the day. Um, and like we hold it at the Hannah House Mansion in Indianapolis on the south side. And I'm going to go ahead and let Jason explain kind of like his role, and what we do, what's the purpose, and most of all, the purpose of it. And that's, to me, that's a very cool part about
Yeah.
it, I think. So, Jason, if you don't mind, you want to go ahead and
Yeah. Yeah. So, my first experience with the Hannah House was when we rented it out way the hell back in like 2007, I think it is, for a private investigation.
Mhm.
Um, Really, really great place. I loved it. I loved the property. There was an energy about it. And it's
Yeah,
not
there
just me
is.
that feels that, but everybody I talked to. It's just kind of inviting.
It's a
If you just,
happy,
when
it's
I'm
like
there,
a
and I'm sure you feel the same way. When you pull in, you feel like you're pulling into your own driveway. You're like, you're home. Like the
yes.
Hannah House feels like home when I pull onto the property.
Oh yeah.
You know, It totally does. It's like the old friend. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Right.
it has such a feeling about it, and it attracts and it draws that from people.
Yes.
But that's just why the event's getting so big. So basically what ended up happening is initially Danielle Garrison used to host an event there called the Paranormal Meet and Greet,
Hmm.
and she hosted it from 2006 to I think 2014.
Right.
Um, but 2012, 2013, 2014, I helped with, a lot of the legwork as far as like announcing the vendors and things like that. And then of course, it started to kind of morph into controlling what was happening on the front of the property with the vendor setup and all of that.
Right.
And around then we averaged probably, I don't know, 30, 35 vendors if it was a good year.
Hmm. Right.
And and what Danielle had going on was a really, really great thing. I mean, it was a great
Yes.
event,
Right.
there, but
Totally
there
agree.
was two issues. Um, the cool thing about it was, is at first it was all paranormal teams. It was all paranormal
Right.
teams, psychics, investigators. Um, and it brought tours, around 500, 600 people every year is pretty good size, I
Hmm.
mean, and she worked really, really hard on it.
Yes.
But that event had gone to the wayside, and so talking with Scott after it went bye bye, we we decided that I was gonna start another event there, an annual event called the Paranormal Day Celebration. It was going to be much like the same thing,
Hmm.
and I did like the values of the paranormal meet and greet to begin with. It was a
Right.
time for people, the keyboard warriors and the people who have so much drama with one another on the internet,
Right.
for them to come together, right, and meet each
Yeah.
other in person, put the bullshit aside and
Correct.
networking with other people. That's what it
Yeah.
was about. It was
Right.
para unity before para unity was even around.
Totally agree.
And it was a no nonsense event. It always had a great energy. It was like a four
Yeah.
hour day,
Right.
but the problem was, is that right when you were really starting to get into it, it was over with. And
Yeah.
I always thought, God, this event needs to be longer, it needs to be longer. So when we created the Paranormal Day Celebration, I want to think it was 2015, 2016, maybe, I can't remember, pretty close to that. Maybe it was 2017. But basically what ended up happening was, is I kept that same premise. I wanted it to be a para unity day,
Right.
not just where, myself and my beliefs and those people who I like or don't like, or, famous people or whatever.
Right.
Um, and it's morphed into this huge thing now where spiritually it's literally covers every single background. So
Right.
if you're one of those people who's a religious spiritual snob, don't come. We don't want you there. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Because every year somebody's like, them pagans, oh, it's just full of witches, and oh, it's full of Satanism. Yeah, there'll be
Oh, I
Satanists
can't
there.
tell you how many times I heard that shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
yeah.
so, you're mad because, you're Catholic or you're just a regular Christian. And,
Right.
what it boils down to is you're a fucking asshole and you don't
Uh-huh.
respect anybody else's fucking religion, and
Right.
that's what it comes down to. But we're
Right.
open to all of it, right? I mean, so we wanted to keep that though. We wanted the networking, the no drama stuff.
Hmm.
But then
Right.
we moved it for we actually opened it up longer now. So now it's an 8 hour event.
Yeah.
So the gates open there at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and it's going to go until 6 p.m. And I mean, if anybody's listening, if you guys are coming this weekend or next weekend, get in for the tours early. They're going to start selling and start doing them at, I think, 11 a.m. Right, bud? You guys are starting an hour early.
I believe so, yes.
I thought that's what it was, so that you
Right.
guys didn't have to work late.
I
Yeah,
was
I
going to
think
say because
that's
I'm
what
going to
it
have,
was. Because
yeah, I'm going to have everybody there early to go over everything and kind of we're going to be so we're all ready to rock and roll. And once lines hit, man, we're going to be ready. You know, we're going to
yeah,
make sure everybody gets a
so
chance.
last year
Yeah.
oh yeah, and so last year the tours there sold out by like 2 p.m. And you
Yeah.
guys were giving tours until almost 6:30, I believe.
Uh,
I mean, half the vendors were gone by the time you guys came out of the
yeah.
house.
I don't even. I was upset because I didn't even get to see the owl. Like there
Oh,
was.
Theo.
Yeah, I didn't
Theo's
get.
coming back, man.
Yeah, to let everybody know there was an owl. Somebody had an owl, and we like I live out in the country, and we got an owl somewhere, and I can't find him. But there was an owl. I didn't get a chance to see the owl. I was
Yeah, so
pissed.
Theo's a bit of a celebrity. Like he's had his pictures taken with people like Alice Cooper and Robert England and
No shit.
all these all he's had his picture taken with so many celebrities. It's awesome. And you see now last year he was I didn't even realize it. Last year he was kind of a baby. He was maybe
He
a foot,
was.
maybe a foot. He was like 14 inches tall, maybe.
Yeah,
And
because
I
Ella.
seen him at
Yeah.
Days of the Dead. He was at Days of the Dead 2 weekends ago or 3 weekends ago,
Okay.
and he's freaking huge. He is so massive. He's a full grown boy, and people who saw him last year, they're not going to believe how big he is because he's huge.
Yeah,
He's a big owl, but he's just as docile and cool as he's ever been.
they're amazing
Taking
creatures.
selfies, petting him. Yeah,
They are amazing. I
yeah,
mean, I just love. They're like my favorite bird. So, and you know me, I'm an
right.
exotic animal person. Anyways, I got snakes and geckos, and I have a tortoise.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I
Same,
found out
same,
an
bro.
owl was
Yeah.
when I found that an owl was there, and I didn't get a chance to see the owl, I was like, okay, this is shitty. All right, come on, I didn't get a chance to see an owl. So
Well,
no,
that's
but
cool,
my
but that's why we got to change things because that's why you got a second set of people doing tours so you guys
hey,
can get a freaking break this year because you have to.
you
And
know,
Theo's going to be right on the sidewalk, by the way, in case
but
you need to find him quickly.
but here's the thing though. Even when I first started doing tours, for the event, three people at the time was actually all we needed. It wasn't really that bad. I mean, we were busy. Don't get me wrong, we were busy, but it was almost like the last few years. It's like holy shit. It's like we were like
Yeah.
so now, so I am actually very thankful and I'm very blessed that people are actually now. I got other people wanting to do tours with me. It just I love it. I'm just and I'm very happy about
Yeah.
it. Because
That's cool, man.
I'm glad I can get other people involved in it. That's the cool part about
Hmm.
it. Everybody's
Right.
like, oh my God, I'll help. And it's like, hey, we're open arms.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
even all the time.
I'm still signing on vendors right now. This when I first started Paranormal Day, I mean, I had like four people helping me. Myself, Danny Wilson, Samantha Eichelberger, and maybe Nikki Zickafus and one or two other people did registration and set everything up. I got to have four people just helping with the vendor setup out in the yard, and
Right,
like 20 people to run the registration. And you've
right,
got double that plus two extra for house tours this year. You have six
right.
people and two extra.
Uh-huh. And we have never, it's almost like even the people that are helping, it's like you just said. It's getting bigger and bigger, and the event alone is just, it's getting amazing.
Yeah. And so, and a lot of that's for a couple of reasons. But first of all, it's from growing. You get several hundred new people every year, but the people who were there last year had such a good time. They're coming back and they're telling more and more people about it.
Right,
The other thing is that, I think that it's more now because to me, it wasn't just a paranormal event. This was a day that we were to raise money for the Hannah House. And
right,
I truly wanted it to be not just for the paranormal people, but a community event for that would appeal to all people. You know what I'm saying? And wanted to make sure that, there was things that the kids would be interested in as well. So we opened up the vendor spaces to artists, you know,
yes,
and people who make a variety of different things, whether you're a t-shirt designer, I mean, you get people like um, oh shit, Betty Pooch. He's the Nikki Morrison, who sells like the dog collars that have all the themed dog collars with
Oh
like
yeah,
the horror themes on them and
yeah.
all
I
kinds
bought
of
one
stuff.
last. Yeah, I bought one last year for my dog.
Right,
That had like Dracula and
right.
Frankenstein. Yeah, I bought one last year.
Right. So you get crazy things like that. You get people who are selling and designing different types of Ouija boards. And then you get people who are doing t-shirts and then all the metaphysical stuff that you can possibly imagine. Tumblers, we got filmmakers there, we got TV personalities there, we got authors that are there. Um, it's opened up so much more. I think the art part of it is so much because we got so many people who really have a niche and they make things themselves that you can't find anywhere else.
Right.
And so it's very, very cool because there's something for a little bit of everybody there. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And I think that has also a huge effect on that. It is now we're trying to literally appeal to the community. So if Joe Schmo wanted to take his kids out and go for a tour because he enjoys history like you and I do,
Mm-hmm.
and the wife wants to browse, the whole family's happy.
Right.
And it's a free event. You might have to walk a mile when you get there. You get there after 12, there's no guarantees you're going to get a spot, but um, you know, it's a pretty big event, like you said. I mean, I mean, last year we looked down the street and saw 40 or 50 people walking all the way up from the university, having coolers and lawn chairs in their hands. And I'm like, I
Right.
take a picture of this because I don't think we'll ever see this again.
Right.
I mean, it was something else. But that's just the thing, though. Um, People don't realize how much work goes into that, and all the people that are there are all volunteers. All the people that are
Mhm.
putting wristbands on, that are walking around with the lanyards, that are helping people set up, answering questions, things of that nature. Those are all people that I couldn't do that event without. Every
Right.
single one of those people are part of a cog in a machine
Right.
that's much bigger than just any one of us.
Most definitely.
So yeah, we're 1 week away, and I'm excited, and everybody else is excited because every single time I get on Facebook, I got notification after notification after notification. Everybody's starting to talk it up, and people are sharing the crap out of the event. The RSVPs are going through the roof.
Right.
I mean, it's just I'm super excited for this. I'm super excited for to be honest with you. I love that our vendors come and do so well there.
Right.
I really do. This is one of those places where people are like, we have to make this because this is so great for business.
Oh, most definitely.
So there are some people that'll make $1,000 there in that single day, maybe even more. And there's
Right.
going to be psychic readers there. There's going to be, psychic mediums, tarot card readers. There's going to be people doing pendulums and tea leaf readings and, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so back what we were talking about. Um, let's just go ahead and get into kind of like so because you know more about this than I do. So like if somebody wanted to come up to the event and stuff like that, and they wanted to walk around, um, what is it that they can like expect? Like what kind of boost? Like who's all like what kind of boosts are going to be there? Um, like besides paranormal, because we all know there's a lot of paranormal teams that show up, and which is cool. But what kind of other people
Yeah.
come to the event as well?
Well, first of all, when you're coming to the event, just be prepared. Okay. Once you get to that corner of Madison and National Avenue, and you make
Right.
that turn on a National Avenue, there's people and cars everywhere out there.
Right.
Um, so be careful, watch the volunteers. We got people that are parking, that'll tell you where to park. I think the houses across the street sell their yards for parking. They make a killing off of our free event. And which it really burns my ass, but at the same time, at least they're not being at least they're not against it and being pricks about it because it is it does literally take over that whole street, that whole area out there,
Kind of like going to the
you know.
500.
So yeah, yeah.
You know,
So when you
yeah.
get there, just look for a place to park. That's the biggest thing.
Hmm.
You're not going to be able to park on the property unless you have a handicap sticker, and you have to
Right.
be able to prove that. So you got the sticker or whatever the case is. Um, you're either going to park along National Avenue or you're going to park down at the lot. I think the other place that everybody else parks at, either I don't think they park at the university, but I think they park around the corner at that huge shopping plaza on
Oh,
the other
okay.
side.
Right.
I think that's where the overflow goes, because the lot usually, and I'm going to tell you now, the lot will probably be filled with
Hmm.
vendor parking before the gates even open.
Right.
I
That's
hate to say,
true.
but we've got almost twice as many vendors as we've ever had before. So if anybody, remembers events from the years past, lots of
Right.
more content, you
Yeah.
know. And what you're going to find out is once you walk through the gates, you're going to be met by our staff.
Hmm.
They're going to want to put a wristband on you, because that's how we keep count of how many people come into the event.
Right.
And if you have any questions at that point, you can ask the staff there. Anybody walking around with a lanyard, there'll probably be 20-25 people that'll be walking around that'll have a Hannah staff lanyard on. Those people throughout the day, no matter what they're doing, they're available for questions or anything that you need.
Right.
If they don't know the answer, then they're just a radio call away from,
Hmm.
getting the answer for just about anything that anybody needs.
Right.
And then once you walk onto the property, it's just, there's just going to be a lot of canopies, a lot of vendors. 99.9% of everybody that is there will have a 10-foot by 10-foot canopy.
Hmm.
Some of them will have 3 or 4 of them, so we have some very big vendors
Right.
that will be there. Um, so I mean, you can expect all kinds of things like graphic tees. A lot of people doing a lot of graphic t-shirts. Um, you can have custom made stuff done, and you got probably thousands of different shirts to choose from at different booths.
Hmm.
A lot of people are doing the sublimation and the tumblers and all that stuff. You'll probably find a lot of that. A lot of artists that do custom work and sell custom merch,
Hmm.
hats, things of that nature, that actually do drawings, and almost any of them you can commission work with as well. So if you
Right.
wanted something custom done like their style, you can talk to them about getting a custom painting or a picture or drawing done.
Right.
So it's, you're going to see a little bit of everything. I mean, we've got I think we got a vendor there. It's actually got he's a blacksmith, and he creates these little blacksmith trinkets, and
Oh, wow.
which is cool, like all kinds of little things, and they're all
Oh,
forged
hell
and
yeah.
by hand by this dude, and super cool shit. um and you're going to see people there like Pugs in the Kitchen, who sell different dog items, for and a lot of ghosty stuff, a lot
Oh,
of
that'd be
paranormally
cool.
themed dog items. Pugs in the Kitchen is always one of the big vendors there that does very, very well, that people seem to always remember.
Hmm.
And we got Bobby Easley, God, the director and the producer of The Witch House, which
Yeah.
is a
Which was
fabulous
filmed,
freaking movie, by
which
the
was
way.
filmed at Hannah
I've seen it.
at Hannah Mansion. Yeah.
It was most of it was filmed at Hannah House. Yeah, about
Most of it. Yeah.
99% of it. Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, and it's won all kinds of awards.
Bobby's a
He
good
just
dude,
got
man.
a he just got a deal for distribution and stuff like that. I think he's going to be on hand selling Witch House t-shirts and
Oh,
DVDs.
awesome.
Um, we'll have filmmaker Christopher Maggard will be there. He's got a
I met
couple
him years
films,
ago.
couple documentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Yeah, I met him a long
Couple
time ago.
films, couple documentaries. I mean, he was a paranormal investigator, and he had his own show for the Roku
Hmm.
network, and
Right.
his own paranormal show there. And he's doing good things. He's a good dude. So him and his wife will be there. Theo the
Yeah.
Owl is going to be there as well. So um, as far as versatility, there's a lot of it there. A
Hmm.
lot of it there.
Right.
I mean, I've been doing this for so long, and my actual mom is going to be there vending this year. She actually
Oh,
made things.
awesome.
So she's been to 2 or 3 of my other major events.
Okay.
And which is really cool because the very first time that my son actually ghost hunted, I figured he was old enough to,
Right.
do a paranormal investigation. Um, was at Post Town for non-con, which is another free event that, myself, Keith Age, Daryl
That's a
Listman, and Shannon Humphreys do,
that's a great place to go
over in
to.
Middletown,
Yeah.
Ohio. Yes,
That's
yes.
a great place to
You
go.
know,
I love it there. I think when I
yeah.
went there,
So
it's when they used to have the what was what was the event they had down in Louisville?
Mid South.
That's it. Okay, I don't know why I had a brain fart on that one. But there was one year they didn't have the Mid South, so they had some event at Post Town.
SuperCon.
It was a long man. This was a long time ago.
Oh,
And I
really?
went
Long,
and I
long
went to
time
that
ago.
and I went to that one. And that was really cool because I didn't really set up a booth or nothing. I just went as a kind of just went, walked around and hung out and met some people that I knew on
Sure.
Facebook, but never met them in person. And that's the cool thing, even about
Yeah, dude, that's what these events are cool for, man, is
right.
meeting people that you almost feel like you've known them for a while is a real fun
Yeah,
because you've known them so long on the internet, and then you get to finally meet them in person.
yeah.
That's the real cool thing about these events.
I told, and
And
that's
for
what I was
some of these
saying.
people, this is the only event that I'll see them at all year long.
Right. Even like God, when was it? And that's the cool thing even about our event. It's like even it's so cool because like I'll like if I'm able to go walk around or even do the tour, somebody be like, "Oh, hey, you're Bud." I'd be like standard going like, "Oh, like who are you?" Like they're like, "Oh yeah, like I did a tour like
Right.
last year, and it is kind of cool because like you get to see so many people, or maybe you talk to them on social media, and like we were talking about,
Yeah.
and turn around then when you get to see them at the event, you're like, oh yeah, I remember
Mhm.
you. It's like, oh, thanks for coming, man. Glad,
Right.
and you feel great because you finally get to meet them. You finally get to,
Mhm.
after you talk to somebody on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, you know, and that's really cool. And that's the cool thing about all the events, really. I mean, not mainly just ours, but
Right.
um,
Yeah. So,
that
I mean, I'll tell you, and to elaborate more on that, I last year I had four different people that came to Paranormal Day that aren't even interested in the paranormal, but they
really,
came, brought their kids, or came with a sibling just to finally meet face to face, even though it was like a 5 minute conversation. And I'm sorry, but I'm so busy. I got to go, you know,
yeah, right.
and I got more people this year than I anticipate on seeing. I'm not really a fan of the whole paranormal thing, but I want to come and check it out. I want to support you because you're a friend and I'd like to meet you.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of cool,
that's all. I mean,
So I'm
that's a
like, heck
cool
yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's a really cool thing. I
Yep.
mean, it like even when we do open house tours, back
Oh
in the
yeah.
day, and we're actually, believe it or not, everybody, we're getting ready to start those back up in September. And please visit Facebook, all that. It will be posted. I'm going to just throw it in there before I forget because I'm horrible at that. And so if you're not able to attend the event, we are going to start, the open house tours back up where it's just the history alone, has nothing to do with the paranormal. So if you just want to come to, do that tour, so feel free. It will be posted. And okay, so even like back to the event, you know, um, let's talk about food vendors. So what kind of food vendors will be there?
Uh, so last year we had Estrada's Tacos, which was a slam dunk because they were the only vendor that we had that had like food.
Yeah,
And but I mean, people are just like, some people just love what they saw last year, and then some people just crushed you because they were just like, why in the hell did you only have one food vendor?
not only that, but those
Because
were amazing
we had Moo
tacos.
and Lou's ice cream. We had Moo and Lou's ice cream. We frozen treats, and we had a beer truck and beer and wine truck that was there. But here's the thing. there was no way that we were going to anticipate 1980 some people to show up.
Yeah. Right.
There was no way.
Uh-huh.
It stopped for a year, and we weren't sure coming back into it after taking a year off what
Mm-hmm.
we were going to, expect. And,
Right.
our highest year before that was in 2019, and it was some 1,200 people. We never thought we were going to top that,
Mm-hmm.
and we did.
Right.
We had even more vendors, and then this year it was now the hype. And I'm not going to speculate on numbers right now. I really don't, because I'm
Yeah.
humbled
Right.
from every single person that walks on that property to be, to come, because for some of us, we've been working hard on this now. I mean,
Yeah.
geez, all the volunteer cleanups that we do,
Right.
we've been planning this day for 8 months,
Uh-huh.
since January, February, we start talking about this.
Right.
And there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. A lot
Right.
of people don't understand, like, like the everything from the private volunteer discussions that we have on Messenger to keep everybody up to date on what's going on, and
Mm-hmm.
how to handle certain situations, to all
Right.
the announcements that is still being made, getting the information out there to the public, and then the physical handling of everything is super important.
Yes.
um, so the main focus this year for me is because we got so many vendors. Last year we had enough vendors that when 8 o'clock hit, there was cars and vendors waiting, and they were curled all the way around on the Madison Avenue. So we literally
Uh-huh.
had a line of people to get in and set up. And here's the thing: you're like, oh, it's just a line, it's no big deal. But look, you've got 2 hours to give these people to get on the property, get unpacked, get set up before the
Right.
gates open. So for
Yeah.
the people that get in between 8 o'clock and 8:30 and got a relatively small booth, that's great. But if you're a big vendor and you don't come until 9:15,
Yeah.
you're struggling.
Uh-huh.
So this year we're going to, um, by special permission of my own, there will be a lot of people that are going to start coming in about 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So that when 8 a.m. rolls around, and the large influx of people start coming in,
Right.
hopefully we've already got the shape of how everything's going to turn out, because you have to figure out a flow and multiple rows and avenues for these vendors. We have to be very, very
Right.
creative, but we also have to be very, very neat about it as well, so that it
Yeah.
looks like a very well organized event.
Right.
That being said, we've never had this many vendors before. So
No.
I mean, every year people have to understand, like, it's jaw dropping to us how many people show up.
Oh yeah.
So it's very, very difficult to plan for that many people. And then every so many more hundred people that show up, the parameters always change.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to run into problems. Last year, we ran out of parking on the property for
Mm-hmm.
handicapped people.
Right.
This year, we decided that we were going to try to combat that and open up more of the property to be able to allow that.
Right.
Last year, we allowed all of our volunteers to park on the property. This year, all of our volunteers are parking off the property. And we've
Right.
opened up more space for, handicapped people. But
Right.
last year, there was a lot of people that were angry because they'd show up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was literally nowhere we can squeeze them.
Right.
And we're like, hey, there's like 60 people already parked on the property, man. How, we're
Right.
sorry, but
Yeah.
we can only do so much.
That's amazing. It
You
really
know,
is. I mean, it's just even with like me and you, as long as we've been like doing the event, and helping out with it and stuff like that. And I mean, I can remember, like you mentioned, when Danielle, had it going and stuff like that, and compared to even kind of like how many more people, and it's not just even like when it all started, like you mentioned, I mean, it was just kind of like the paranormal teams getting together. And that was it. It was kind of like, like ghost hunting teams, paranormal guys, and it's almost like that was just kind of like the gist of it, which was cool, which was amazing. But then it's like you just said,
absolutely.
now we got different. even back then, it's like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't just paranormal teams. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to don't want to misspeak here, but it's like because you had psychics, you had different other
No, with
like
crypto people there. Yeah,
crypto people,
absolutely.
Bigfoot, yeah, Bigfoot people,
Hmm.
or but now it's like you mentioned, but now it's almost like you just said, you got t-shirt people, you got artists, and that's the cool thing with me because even being a photographer, it's like I enjoy artists alone and just going out there to see people finally being able to promote their art and promote. And it doesn't have to be paranormal related. It doesn't have to be,
Right.
it doesn't to do anything with the paranormal or Bigfoot or whatever. People are now, just able to sell their jewelry or sell, their paintings. And to me, that's very cool. I enjoy seeing that. I really do.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
that's
absolutely, man.
amazing that that the event can do that for these people and for these guys. It even helps get their name out. It even helps, like
Yeah.
even with me, it's like like say you're looking for somebody to make a print for you, or like a kind of like behind me, I've got a painting of Bela Lugosi, which I'm a huge fan of, and Sarah got that for me because a friend of hers, which is an artist, and like I didn't know who he was, but it kind of helps getting like because I've had a lot of people say, "Hey man, who did that for you?" And then I'll say his name, then all of a sudden it's like, "Hey man, that guy probably just maybe sold 10 more of his paintings, maybe just because of that." And
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about the event. I really want to get out. That's what helps these guys.
So yeah, yeah. And I've been a fan of art for a very, very long time. I've been a
Right.
musician for a very long time, So it's not just, I really love people who thrive and put themselves out there creatively.
Yeah.
It's not easy
Right.
for some of those people to do. I'm not a creative person myself. I'm really, really not. But I
Right.
love art. I really
Yeah.
do. I love people being able to get out there and sell their expression. And here's the really cool thing about the Hannah House. There will be several people there this year that have never had a booth before. Some of them are young entrepreneurs, 17, 18, 19 years
Yeah.
old, 16, one of them.
Right.
This gives these younger kids who aren't even old enough to, they're not even legal adults yet,
Mm-hmm.
but they're out here selling their stuff that they've put time in and put effort into and created. And now they're going to be out there and they're the ones that are going to be interacting with literally hundreds of people,
Right.
and selling and talking, so, I love supporting that too. The
Right.
entrepreneurial spirit, the people that are out there that are just, I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, man, I hope we do well this year. This event's going to be huge,
Right.
whether it's covering their lunch for the day or, whether it's, paying for all their expenses for driving 4 hours to be there. Dude, I dig it all. I love it,
Yeah.
man. I love it. And I promise you, I do this every year. I will walk around to every single booth and
Right.
thank every single person for being there
Yeah.
before the end of the day.
Right. It's
Because I
awesome, man.
appreciate every one of them, man.
Yeah. Most definitely. That's why, even when I would get out in the yard and try to walk around, talk to people, and stuff like that. And, like, it is like cool because, like I said, like you might know them from social media, you might know them from you might have heard of them on TV or just wherever,
Right.
and just finally get out and meet them and say hi, say hi and stuff like that, and that's a really cool
Here's the
thing.
thing though, man. I don't recall ever seeing you outside during the event.
It's very late in the evening.
It is very,
It
very
is
late
like
in
when
the
like I
evening,
think
maybe.
half the
I don't know.
I
Did
think
you
it's like
guys
when
get
three
did they actually stop tours last year and give you guys a break? Did you guys get a break from the tours at all?
it was
Because I feel like I actually did see you last
uh
year.
we stopped for about we would stop for about maybe 15-20 minutes, and then it was kind of like, man, we just got to keep going, so it was almost like we'd get a
Yeah.
little break, go outside, I'd probably get I think I was able to get a taco, you know, so,
Yeah.
but you know, with the more help I've got this year, and I just want to get a shout, just give a huge shout out to all to the people that are actually helping me with the tours this year. Thank you guys so much. It's going to be an awesome event, and but yeah, I mean, and I appreciate the people that are coming forward because I've been keeping in contact with them, and I just really do. I appreciate them coming forward because you know, and I mean, even the people that are going to be doing the registration tables, you know, like working security, walking around and making sure everything goes smooth. I mean, thank you to everybody out there. I mean, really,
Parking,
yeah.
registration, security, the people who are just doing general volunteer
And
stuff,
we was,
walking around,
and
making sure
even
that
the
people don't need things. Yeah.
and people that helped with the cleanup, you know, and
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
I appreciate everything. I mean, is and
Yeah.
thank you to all you guys. I mean, it's awesome. And I mean, it just
Yeah.
because, like you said earlier, man. I mean, a lot of people don't realize kind of like what it takes to get it ready, not just have it.
Oh yeah.
You know, not
And
just
then
have
yeah,
it,
I mean, yeah,
but to get
yeah,
it ready.
yeah.
You know,
Every week, I mean, the very first weekend that we were there, I think we had like 14 people. We mowed, we moved trees because people don't understand like 5 to 7 trees fall on that property every year. A
oh
lot of big
yeah,
trees that fall.
they've been there for
And we're felling
years.
trees and we're cutting them up. We're not lumberjacks, people. We're cutting the shit up. We're stacking wood. We're moving wood. We're burning
Right.
stuff, and the very first weekend, I was like, man, this place freaking looks amazing already. But what you don't understand is it's early spring. So the
Mm-hmm.
real weeds and the real growth and the real shit that's about to take over that whole property hasn't even started yet. So every single month you think you're building on it, and
Right.
it goes right back to looking the way it was before we mowed it, before we trimmed it, before. And I mean, Scott stays on top of it as much as possible. People don't
Yes,
understand
correct.
that's a big
That's right.
freaking property. The Hannah
Uh-huh.
House property goes from Madison Avenue all the way to the railroad tracks down by the university.
You know what a lot of
Okay, and
people
it includes the
don't
whole empty lot and the 2 houses.
you know what a lot of people
Three
don't
houses.
know from
What's that?
When Alexander built that house, that
Mm-hmm.
property is a small fraction of when Alexander built that house and how much property he had in Indianapolis right there.
Oh yeah, at that point in time, yeah. At
He
one point in
had,
time, the property that he owned around that was massive.
oh yeah, I mean, and it was nothing but farmland as well.
Mm-hmm.
And even like a lot of people don't know, which I'm not going to give a lot of stuff out because I want you to come do the tour. So I'm going to keep some of my
Right.
mouth. I'm going to keep part of my mouth shut. But yeah, but a lot of people don't know. Um, that's a small fraction of when Alexander first built that house, of how much property that man had.
Yeah.
You know, so it's amazing to see it now. Not then come to think of it, like when you come do the tour and you learn about the history, and we will tell you, and then you sit there and go, "Wow, he owned that much here," and I'm like, "Yeah, he did." Because he come
He was
back in,
huge, man.
yeah, and he's an amazing person to learn about too as well. So,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm not going
I
to say
mean,
too.
and
I'm
and
not
ever
saying.
since ever since the property, the Hannah property has left his hands, it's only been in the hands of 3 people, including him. 3 families, including him, I should say. Right?
Correct.
Is that what it's been? It's been 3 families, and it's been in the other family now for well
Uh,
over 100 years. Am I
well,
right about that or not?
yes, you're correct. Yes and no. Um,
Okay.
Technically, two families. Technically,
Okay.
because
Since
Alexander,
Hannah or including Hannah.
including because when Alexander died, the house sat dormant. Yes and no, because his foreman took care of the house.
Hmm.
Then Roman Ayler bought it, and the house is still in the Ayler family. So technically, two. when the
Okay.
O'Briens lived there, when the O'Briens lived there in the 70s, they just, I believe, just rented the house. They didn't own it.
Gotcha.
So, so
Okay.
yeah, yeah, you're correct. And yes and no. But yeah, but technically the house has only been owned by two different
Actually owned
families.
by two families, and it's still
Correct.
in that family now who got it after Hannah.
And
But
we're
there's been three
talking
families that have been integral in there just because you said that what family was it that
the
was in there in the
O'Briens,
70s?
the O'Brien family.
The O'Briens. Hmm.
They're the ones that back in the 70s, they're the ones, which I'm not going to give this out to because I tell it a part of the tour. So I'm not going to give this out. But when the
Don't do it,
O'Briens,
man.
yeah, but when the O'Briens lived there, the bottom part of the house was an antique store.
I've heard that.
And there was a lot of paranormal claims came from the O'Brien family as well. So
I heard that as well.
I'm not going to give that out. So, but I do tell that a part of the tour.
Well, you were there last weekend or the last cleanup weekend when that guy who bought a bed that was sold out of the Hannah house in the
Yes,
70s, he brought the thing back and it's
that
still
was.
in great
I did
condition.
not. Oh my god! I'm so glad you brought that up because it was like the guy showed up because we're there clean up blah 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 blah.
Well, he
And
messaged us first.
okay,
He messaged us about a week ahead of that.
oh
And
okay,
the only thing I saw was a Scott got on there. I said, I'm sure somebody would be interested, but let me talk to Scott about it. And Scott had already messaged the guy, said, get a hold of me, and then gave him the number. And then that day, Scott said, hey, did you know that there's a guy that bought a bed out of here, is bringing it back? And I'm like, yeah,
talked
is
to.
he coming today? And he was like, yeah, he sure is.
I helped
Sure
carry some
enough.
of it inside the
Mm-hmm.
house, and the
Yeah.
guy and I actually talked to the guy, and he was like, "Yeah, man." He says we bought it out of here in the 1970s. And he goes, and I just figured, he said, I've had it ever since. And he goes, and I just want to know
Yeah.
if I could just bring it back. And he didn't even sell it. He just gave it back.
Nah, he just gave it back. He just
Yeah.
gifted it back to the house. It's
Yeah.
the best thing that could have ever happened.
And I'm
Yeah.
like standing there going, that had to be, and I mean, I'm telling you, man, I mean, I think there's sometimes we can live in a shitty world, you know, but I'm telling you, there's still kind people out there. There's still good
Yeah.
people. And I stood there and I'm
Well,
like,
that's somebody who obviously respected the bed and then respected the history of the house as a whole.
yes, very
I'm sure that
correct.
I don't know if they're part of the Paranormal Day Celebration crowd or if they just happened to look on Facebook or somebody was like, hey, they're still doing things with that house. And he was like, well, let's give this bed back. If
Mm-hmm.
anything, it can go back into the original room, be part of the tour.
Mm-hmm.
This is somebody, who obviously had a grave respect and,
Yes.
for the history and for the appeal of the bed itself to come back is super important. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And he even told me about that. Well, when he was talking to me about it, and I reached out and shook his hand, and I was like, I said,
Hmm.
man, I said that was just really very kind of you. And he said, he goes, I have no use for it. He goes, I was trying to restore it. And he says, and I just figured, maybe I could just bring it back. And I was like, I said, man, I said, you could have sold that
Hmm.
for good. Because if I'm thinking correctly, the wood is walnut. If I'm thinking right, I can't be wrong.
A 1950s bed, I think.
I
It
believe
may
so.
be older than that. It might
Right,
be, I think I heard that, but I could be wrong about it though.
right.
But our time's getting short because I got to run here pretty
Yes,
soon,
sir.
bud. But you know what, real quick though, because we started, but we never did finish. The food vendors. So we're
Oh,
gonna have Estrada's tacos back.
which is
Best
amazing.
tacos ever, people.
Everybody,
You
amazing
love
tacos.
authentic tacos, you gotta check
This
it out.
guy makes some
Mom,
bomb tacos. Yeah.
him and his whole family. Yep, we'll have the kids working, the wife working. They're great people. They've donated to the volunteers, donated meals to the volunteers for us.
Right.
Support the event. I mean, just
Awesome.
really good-hearted people.
Yes.
They're like family
Awesome
to us
guy.
now. Um, Mama D's Barbecue is also going to be there.
Right.
They are going to be slaying it with some barbecue food.
I can't wait
Check
to
them
try
out.
that. Yeah.
I think that they're actually got a breakfast menu for everybody who's going to be
Ooh,
there early, who's getting hungry
okay.
right after setup. They're actually going to have breakfast food being served there as
Uh,
well.
I'll
Uh,
be in line.
so we got the black vegan food truck, which is all vegan, obviously. So for all of you guys out there that are vegan individuals, they have an expansive menu of things that you can order from.
Right on.
Um, we're going to have Fred and Friends Traveling Tavern, which is going to be selling ice cold beer and wine throughout the day.
Ooh,
And then Moo and Lou's ice cream and more. Now
uh,
they had some fantastic menu items. It's supposed to be 81 and partly sunny or mostly sunny on Saturday.
mhm.
Knock on wood, fingers crossed.
Right.
Um, but if you're walking around that place and you just start to feel like you're just, bleh, it's, a little warm or a lot of walking or whatever,
Hey, right.
that stuff hits the spot. Cause that's what I did. I hid, I took 10 minutes and I hid and ate some ice cream. And it was the best thing I had all day besides some tacos.
Oh yeah.
So, um, and yeah, so just so everybody knows, it's another thing too. We've got a huge area for people to sit down and eat. We're going to have tables out there
Awesome.
in a shaded area for plenty of people to be able to get food, relax, eat, get away from all the crowds, kind of take a load off a little bit.
Right.
So yeah, we've expanded. We don't just have a bunch more vendors coming in, but we've got more volunteers, we got more
Awesome.
food trucks, we got a bigger relaxing space for everybody. It's
Hmm.
going to be a fantastic event. So I
Right
know
on.
Bud's
That's awesome.
excited to see everybody there.
Hey,
I know
I'm
I am
ready.
as well. All of our volunteers are all super excited for this. And if we could be doing this tomorrow, we would be, trust me, because
Hey,
everybody's chomping at the bit right now.
ready to
So
rock and roll, man.
um hope to see a lot of people out there. If you're not from the area and you can't make it, you're missing a humongous event. But
It's gonna be
if
great.
you are going to be there and we have not met in person, please don't hesitate to come up and introduce yourself to me. Don't leave it to me to see you because I will look over top of you all day because my mind will be going 90 miles an hour trying to make sure
Right.
that the event is going smoothly. There's a lot of
Right.
moving parts and I kind of move the
You
moving parts
and you
around,
do an awesome job,
you
brother.
know.
Let me just say, you do an
Well, I thank you
amazing
for
job.
that. I
Amazing job.
appreciate that, bro. Seriously, I do.
I mean, you
I
do one hell
appreciate
of a
that.
job. I mean, no lie.
But I couldn't do it without all the help. So that's the important thing. And
Right.
like you said, everybody who volunteered, I want to do something for all the volunteers in a
Right.
couple months or in a
We'll
month or so.
we'll definitely get together. Most
See
definitely.
if we can. We need to have a little get together. Maybe
We
Bud's got to
will.
bring over the backyard
Hey,
barbecue or something,
we'll
man.
we'll figure
I
something out.
mean, I'll buy meat.
Hey, we'll work
I'll
something
buy
out. Don't
meat.
worry.
If you cook it, I'll buy it.
Hey, we'll work something out. Don't worry. We'll figure it out.
All right, man.
All
Well,
right,
that sounds
brother.
great. I
Thanks for coming.
appreciate you having me on, bud.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man. This was awesome, and I'm glad we got to promote the event. Let's get the word out. Let's tell everybody it's gonna be kick ass, man. And yeah, thanks for coming on, man. And it was I we let's do it again, man.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Oh yeah.
We can actually talk about some paranormal subjects and
And
get
we'll get on
to the
other
nuts and
subjects. I
bolts.
don't we'll even talk
Because I
about
know
like
that we hit on a lot of the same shit, as
right.
far as our likeness and our beliefs and interests. So
Yeah, we can even like talk about like sports. I don't give a shit. I mean, this is how I roll.
I'm down for that. I'm gonna Notre Dame Ohio State game in less than
Dude.
a month, man. I'm
Ah,
so excited.
man, you got that makes
I
me
talk
sick.
about it every single day.
I don't, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you. I mean, I'm a diehard Notre Dame fan, and I ain't mad at you. That's all I got to say.
I
If I
got
was in,
respect for Notre Dame, but I've got a lot of shit talking Notre Dame fans who hate Ohio State. So
dude,
every time we
yeah,
play, man, whether it's a bowl game or
uh-huh,
whatever, this is the first time we faced each other in regular season in a very long time. You know what I
damn
mean?
right.
So
Oh, yeah,
and it's a night game and it's at the
uh-huh,
horseshoe,
right.
you know.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you. All
Can't
right,
wait,
brother.
buddy.
Let's go ahead and call it a night, and I will see you this week, this coming up weekend at the event, and we're gonna. It's just going to be an awesome, man. I can't wait to see you.
All right, brother. We'll see you then.
All
Thank you
right,
everybody for tuning
all
in.
right, all right. Take care, brother.
See ya.
All right, have a good one, buddy.